You know, when you talk about how Brighton seem as still a very big sale and there's a payday imminent, and I guess, that is a little bit how Brighton operate. At the peak of Ferguson mania,
Hmm.
there was talk of, even on Match of the Day, this kid, big money. The Chelseas of the world will be sniffing around him, the Arsenals of the world sniffing around him. If he was on sale tomorrow, come and get him, highest bidder, let's go. We want this done by close of business. Where do you think he'd pitch up now?
Yeah, this is going back to the Queeveen Kelleher sale sort of price thing, isn't it? It's like, what is he worth here? I mean, listen, I'm going off reports in England at the weekend, from people who cover West Ham very closely. So they're obviously probably on top of the discussions. And they were saying around 40, but my sort of impression of it from sort of any inquiries I've met is that Brighton definitely see him as a player worth more than that, but probably know that they couldn't charge a huge amount more on the basis of what he's done, I guess, in the last while. But this is my point, really. I mean, like Premier League money is so crazy now that like he's 4 or 5 goals away from being back to 60 again.
Yeah.
Very, very, very easily.
And it's funny.
So I think
I was also asking not just the fee. I was like, where would it still be? Arsenal, Chelsea, that echelon? Do we think?
Yeah, I mean, they were interested in this window, it seems. And like, I certainly know Chelsea were made an inquiry at the end of the last window.
Right.
And look, he's still 20. He's still like a player in a position where the trends are coming around maybe towards that type of a number 9 again. There's a shortage of him in his age bracket, I guess. And the concern is the injuries now. I think if it wasn't for the injury concerns, he's a very obvious investment for a lot of those clubs. Yeah. I think so. I still believe, and look, you have to be conscious with this, of course, that there's so much Irish desire for Evan Ferguson to be a success that you almost feel like you want to counter that and temper your own feelings around it. But equally, you look back and go, well, I think he was the first player since Wayne Rooney as a teenager to score like double-figure goals in a calendar year. Like it's very. Like he's done a hell of a lot. He's had a tough time, but it won't take a huge amount to get going again. And that's why I'm glad they haven't rushed into anything. But I still think he can go for that 50, 60. I know 100 was being talked about at the time, and maybe that seems miles away now, and maybe not. But I definitely think if he does well at West Ham with his age, like the contract, etc., he easily goes into that bracket.
And just remind us about the state of his body. Still only 20. Has this been... same injury throughout, different niggly injuries, serious injuries been in there as well? What do we know about how fit he is and how he's feeling?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that it's been a couple of different ones that's just slightly concerning. The people probably will remember the Fabinho tackle, and that was a shocker. And at that time there was knee concerns. There was talk about patellar issues, which I think I remember Stephen Kenny speaking about at one time. But the issue last summer that sort of meant that he missed pre-season this year and was slow. So it was an ankle problem. So there's been a couple of different things. It's just that slight concern, it's like he's obviously he is a very impressive athlete, and he's still probably, he was very highly developed at 14, so you can't quite say he's still growing, but still, I suppose he's growing into the demands of like top level sort of professional for sport, and in that very demanding role. Like I know even just from being away last week talking to the Alkmaar manager about Troy Parrott, he was very positive, but he was saying it's still the slight concern is the physicality of the demands of playing that position, i.e. the number 9, the durability to play that position, I suppose, at the highest level and play that schedule. So it's a little niggle. Like you can't lie about that. You just need to come back now and see him play 8 to 10 games and go, okay, we need to relax about this and not be concerned.